Welcome to video 6. Here, I'll take you behind the scenes of the illustration process and how I combined AI-generated art with meticulous manual edits to achieve the right tone, color, and emotion for every page. And you'll see why technologies are always just a starting point. When you're creating a book for kids, there's a lot of things to consider about the problem. What is the problem? Well, there can be many. In this context, kids don't often have people to read with them. In fact, there's a lot of studies showing that kids aren't getting the exposure to reading like they used to. So I want to make a book that would help people do that. So the first thing you have to figure out is the format. And the format here is really wide, so you can have it on your lap and your child's lap or the kid next to you. Just thinking through that one issue changes everything, because now you know what the book needs to look like. It also changes your printing options. If you want a print-on-demand service, you can't get it in this format. So you need to print a certain number of copies just to make it economically viable. Next thing you have to do is figure out how you're going to create the images that express your ideas. Here we have a picture of the dog, Timber, meeting a salmon, a scholarly salmon. So when you have to do this, it requires a lot of work. Now, people think, oh, look, I've got AI. Just type it into AI and it's just going to make what you want. It's not true. It took about 1,000 hours, maybe more, of work where you have to sit there and work to create all these different versions that look appropriate or feel appropriate or express an idea about what time of day it is. And these color values need to be right, and the tone needs to be right, and the style needs to be right. And it takes a long time to do that. And that one image there is actually many images pushed together. So while it looks like a simple AI, beautifully illustrated image here, what you have is things that have been tweaked by hand that you wouldn't even know, whether it's the drip here added later, the back of the book, which is a completely separate image generated that has a very clever name. I'll let you find that later on in your own copy. Or moving his flipper around so he's able to hold the book and it looks more real. So there's a million things going on here and lots of hand tuning for every image. Then you have to put the type in, you have to set the type, you have to pick the colors. In fact, you have to pick colors for everything. So the execution is just mind expanding. In fact, if you take a look at the whole book here, let's take this blurry image and start stepping way back. That's the whole book. That's all the pages. If we move them over, we'll take a look at the mean color values for everything. So we have the cover, and then we begin the setup. And you see how the color values change. We have these dark green pages, like a heavy velvet curtain on a stage that opens up, and we see the beginning of the play. And in the opening, we have these warm colors, it's setting a tone, and we start moving in to describe the opening of the story. During the action phase, the tones get darker and deeper and richer. And during the conflict, they become even darker still until we get to the very depth of the whole story. There's hope, and we start with a pale set of colors that become warmer and greener and more optimistic until we have a happy ending with these very saturated colors. And finally, our closing colors that show that we've brought the curtains back down and we've closed our story. There's all these different layers of things to think about when you're creating a work like this. It's not just one thing. Whether you're starting with a zoomed out shot, a medium shot, a close-up shot, whether you're trying to convey concern and worries in both the eyes, but also the environment around the main character. And then finally, how do you create an image for a cover to express all these things you've been working on for years and years and years? In the final video, I'll share the broader impact of the book, including the teachers and parents guides, and how you can use these resources to spark learning and empathy.